Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in Story. I don't know if I need to really keep saying that. It seems kind of awkward, but then you feel like, somebody might come directly to this because of a particular deck that you're doing, and you should at least introduce yourself. My manners just kick in, and I need to probably shut the window, although it's an absolutely beautiful fall day here. Beautiful fall day here. But what I'm so excited about is what's in this box. And this is a gift from a very, very sweet person who I have was able to work with both on Skype and in readings, and she was so sweet and said this was something, well, again, I'm always acting like I'm gonna surprise you because I just hate that I can't. Okay, so obviously we're talking about the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. I was really excited about this deck. It had been on my radar when somebody a while back had kind of put decks that were coming up that they were kind of watching for, and so it was kind of on my radar from that. I was quite interested in it. I've always been really drawn to ravens, and so it was something I was quite interested in. And then I had, oh, I'm going to forget her. Now I'm going to have to look it up. And I don't know why I always forget the name of her, because she's another one, like Bart, who has different names on Instagram. It's the Bard's Lament, which I think is an absolutely wonderful Instagram name. But it's not the same thing. And I actually had followed her on Instagram first, and then I had seen a little bit of her YouTube, and I didn't realize it was the same person. Shoot. Let me see if I can find it, and then I need to go close the window. Here we go. And I'll put a link in the description box below. Storytelling Tea and Tarot. I mean, how could we not be Truth and Story, Storytelling Tea and Tarot? I love Storytelling Tea and Tarot. It's just a perfect combination. One second. Okay, I'm willing to sacrifice my beautiful fall breeze just for a little while so that you don't get too much road noise. But that was all. I really wasn't able to sacrifice anything else to open this book, this deck. I literally just came right in the door from picking up my car, which broke down, which I told you in the last video had been a horrible day. My car breaking down after I paid my tags on it. It's back in my possession. But anyways, I saw Storytelling Tea and Tarot had sort of done a couple videos on her working with this particular deck. So I was quite intrigued with it again, but I was a little bit nervous because I had actually, before I saw her video, I'd almost purchased it myself, but I was a little bit nervous about, they had some issues at the beginning with missing cards. So I was a little bit nervous. I thought, you know what, maybe I'll wait for them to work out those kinks. But then everybody was saying how they were having no problems getting them replaced. But it was between I really wanted this and the Halloween Oracle, and I have a lot less oracles than I do tarot. And so when I was going to order another deck, I thought, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and get the Halloween Oracle first because I don't have a lot of Oracle decks. And then the next tarot deck that I get will be this one. And literally that was the night before, and I had done some work with this wonderful, wonderful person who I'm not going to use her name because she hasn't given me permission to do so, but she knows who she is. After we'd done some work together, she's like, she has this deck and she was working with it, and she thought that I would really like it, and wants to give it to me. So it just, look at this. And the cool part, look at this, the front of this. So this is the Raven's Prophecy Tarot by Maggie Stiefvater with a V. You can look at it closer when I have it up. This is I want to say it's a Llewellyn deck. Yes, this is a Llewellyn deck. And it came out in 2015. It hasn't been out all that long. And I'm really excited about this front card in particular because I think I knew this. Like, I feel like I'm sure that on Storytelling Tea and Tarot's video, she probably mentioned it. I'm sure I read it before. It was probably one of the reasons that I wanted it, but I had forgotten about it when I was talking to this person who was gifting it to me. I had forgotten about it, and so then I text her. I want to say it was in the middle of the night. I feel so bad. I do email people, even readings and stuff, in the middle of the night because I'm a night owl. When I finish something, I just want to email it and be done. I'm like, please. Oh, Isabel. I really feel like, please, you know, I hope that they don't have their email dinging loudly because I'm bad about that. But I did, so I emailed her when I saw it in the middle of the night. I'm like, did you know that there are books by this person? And she's like, the next day, obviously, because it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, she's like, yes, let me know how they are. So this is, let me turn the thing down again. This is the first of the books. It's called The Raven Boys, and it's the first of a trilogy. I mean, I think it's at least a trilogy. I'm on chapter 24 of like 49, so I'm about halfway through it. It is sort of classified as young adults. That generally doesn't, I don't really care about that generally with books. Especially fantasy type books, very often there's really good ones that are in the young adults, but then sometimes you get stuck with some kind of, I'm not going to say it because there's people who are going to love that series, but there's, you know, you can also run into others. So I thought, wow, it wasn't too much for the, or did I have points? I might have had points on Audible. I don't know. But anyways, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and pick it up because this was coming. And so what's interesting is that this exact figure of this raven with its head back like that, I was just listening to the book as I like to listen to books as I'm just driving around and things like that. And so I was just listening to it as I was, you know, running to the post office, picking up my car, all that kind of stuff. And I just literally, before I came home, got to the point where this actual, the way that the bird's neck is back and the way that it looks is described in the book. And so then, so that was kind of exciting because there it is right there. I'm enjoying the book so far. I mean, it's definitely, you know, based off of some teenagers, so that's quite past my age bracket, but it's still interesting so far. Again, I'm only halfway through, so I'll have to get back to you totally on that. Okay. You know I'm going to switch, I promise, but I thought at least open it up. I'm so excited about this one because, again, I really feel like it's going to work well. I picked up this one, the Halloween Oracle, and I know, and people get, I think, slightly offended because this is not a Halloween deck. It really isn't. It has orange and black, which makes people think Halloween, but it's technically not. But I still feel like the vibe of the energy is going to go with this Halloween Oracle. At least that was my intention when I picked up the Halloween Oracle, I thought. And also this Chronicles of Destiny, which is kind of the darker black, and has been working beautifully with the Halloween Oracle and has very fall energy feel to me. And I feel like this one is going to be too. So I feel like these are kind of going to be my really focused kind of, this kind of leading up to Samhain energy kind of decks, because it just feels like that. We shall see. Typical Llewellyn box. I don't like these. Sorry, Llewellyn. I love Llewellyn decks. I have a lot of Llewellyn decks. I don't particularly like these boxes because to me they're worthless. Other than to ship it to you, you're not going to keep it. It's too big. You know, there's nothing to keep the cards in. There's the book. You know, they say you can like use this to stick. It doesn't even fit the cards. Like, that to me is worthless. Like, I just think this whole packaging needs to be rethought. But that's just me. This will get thrown out after I do my review. I just don't keep these big boxes. So here's the guidebook, and we will flop, because we will flop. We are going to flop. This will flop because this is a shiny, and so this is not one of those kind of Llewellyn matte feel books. This is more of a shiny. At least this time I didn't jump. This is definitely more of a shiny feel to it. So we will switch over because I'm kind of excited because from what I understand, some of this is kind of connected with the books. Not that you need to read the books in order to, but I'm excited to see if there what kind of connections there might be. So we will take a look at this when I swap over. So it kind of comes wrapped in to keep all your cards together. And it's very thick. It's actually thicker than normal cellophane, or whatever this is called. I'm not going to be able to get it. That would be too easy. I'm so excited I really am excited about this deck. I'm excited about it because A, it was the next deck I wanted on my list, but I'm really excited about it because when something like that happens, that is so, kind of a little ding on the top cards. When something happens that's so synchronistic like that, like this was the deck that I wanted next, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't up on anything that, you know, that I had said that I wanted this next. And so then when she said, you know, I have this deck and I think you'd like it, and so that kind of thing just kind of puts like exclamation point on a deck, and you think, okay. Or like, you know, somebody had sent me, Melissa had sent me the Tarot of the Old Path, and it really wasn't the main deck that she was sending to me, but that deck, you know, she just thought, okay, this might be the deck for her. And I had just seen the deck and fallen in love with it the night before, and I've absolutely fallen massively in love with that deck. So sometimes when those kind of synchronistic things happen, you feel like there's like an extra oomph to the connection with the deck, I feel. And so that's kind of the feeling I have. It was a deck I really wanted anyways, and now it just has an extra zing there. So thank you very, very, very much for that. So here's the backings. Quite simple, you know, it is. And I do understand, you know, people say, this is, yeah, I do need to switch. But I do, you know, you think Halloween. I'm sorry. There's no way that you're going to see black. I'm not sure, because the fronts of the books, well, let's see. Bring this. Yeah, I mean, this is the front of the first book. Like, there's nothing orangey. I could see maybe if the books were that sort of black and orange look, and so they wanted to tie those things in, but that's not really the case. So I'm not sure why they chose the black. Maybe it's going to say in the guidebook, and I'll find out. But there's really kind of hard for you to not think Halloween when you see black and red or black and orange in the United States, at least. But I do quite like it's simple, almost just like a hand-drawn pentacle, a sword, a cup, and like a leaf, you know, for the 4 elements, and then the infinity sign. So quite simple. The borders themselves, again, are the orange, which there's a lot of people. I'm actually, because I'm like loving the season, it doesn't bother me. I do like orange in general. I'm definitely, my intention is, let's just see what it's going to do. Obviously, it's going to cut close into that, but my intention is most likely to, and I'll know more when we go through, because I may then show you them at the end. My intention is to cut them, just this part, leaving this on, and then rounding the border. But right now, we'll see. But here's the Fool anyways. And I know that you can order this deck from a specific store. I don't know if it's online. I think pretty sure it's online. I'll put the link to the website so that you can go there, because if you haven't bought this yet, if you buy it at a specific place, you get a secondary magician card to choose, not the Fool, but the secondary magician card. You get a different one that you can have, as well as the other one. You get an extra magician card for ordering it there. Look at this Fool, though. I do love the energy of the Fool. It's just wide open. You know, it's not a lot of detail. And from this deck, from what I understand, and what I've not seen a complete walkthrough of this deck. So I have not, this is one of those, well, again, it was, number one, it was a gift, so I hadn't really gotten to where, okay, I'm going to buy this. Now I'm going to, you know, like look through all the cards. I hadn't gotten there because somebody synchronistically jumped the gun on me. So I hadn't even gotten there. So I have not seen all the cards of this. but I've seen enough to know it does have a much more simplistic, I hate that term because I feel like there's a negative connotation. I don't think it's not a tons of detail, but it evokes a lot of intuitive reaction from what I understand. So this is the full card. You do have the orange border around it. A lot of people are like, why? We'll see if it fits. So I think it fits with the energy of the deck. But again, I do understand why people think Halloween when they see that. It is a Llewellyn deck. So it's the typical, actually, no, the typical Llewellyn card. Actually, it kind of, no, it's just a typical Llewellyn cardstock, which, as you know, if you follow, watch my other videos, I really don't mind. I mean, do I love the Fountain Tarot? Yes, and it's got some amazing cardstock. Yeah, I don't mind it. Will it hold up as well? No. In fact, I will say that when I opened it, you could already kind of see, because it's all black like this, Shadowscape has held up very well. I had, I just did the walkthrough for my Shadowscape. That has seen a lot of use, over a year of concerted just using that deck alone. And it has held up very, very well. Just with some slight, wear on the edges. I will say that my Tarot of the Hidden Realms has had a little bit more chipping on it that you can see, especially down in the bronze part down here. I'd say there's more chipping in this one than that, but even this, I use this quite a lot. And it is what it is. I think if you really fall in love with a Llewellyn deck like this, sadly, I think you probably, want to have a backup. If it's like one you like, I will probably eventually get a backup of Hidden Realms and Shadowscape, because those are I use those decks so much, and the stock isn't that great, and if it ever goes out of print, I will cry. Anyways, I'm kind of tempted to blacken the edge, like I have definitely seen people do, and my friend Quilfin has a video on how she did it with kind of these distressed inks pads that she did, and I'm kind of tempted on this one. The only thing is that this side is black, whereas the other is, you've got the orange, so I didn't know if that was going to matter, but if I trim these, then it won't really matter. I had to pause for working. As you can tell, look at, I redid my nails while I had to be on the phone with my boss, which is probably rude. But anyways, so look, I made them dark so they would be Halloween-y. I know, everybody's going to be typing, it's not a Halloween deck. I know, but I'm feeling in the Halloween spirit, and it's black and it's orange. Anyway, so I did that. I also counted these to make, or went through to make sure that these had all the right number, and they do have all the right number. So that's a relief, because I'm not a very patient person, and it would bug me if they were missing. Like, one of the things that I was really drawn to about this book, or about this deck, was even before I know that I knew earlier that she was a writer, because it was one of the things that I had heard was that these are very based on creativity and writing, and sort of really tapping into that sort of idea of story, which is of course quite important to me. And so while I was doing other things in between, like taping these clips, I did read the introduction to the book, and I want to read you a little bit of it because it resonates very much with me. So here's the introduction. Again, this is by Maggie Stiefvater. I love stories. I love them in all forms, in writing, in art, in music. I love how humans everywhere feel compelled to fold and carve and structure events into a narrative. We've been doing it for as long as we've been around. We mutter cautionary tales to remind others what frightens us, whisper love stories to give form to our hope, and shout heroic epics to underline what we believe in. My favorite sort of stories, however, are the ones that tell people about themselves. To me, that's the soul of tarot. Every spread is an opportunity to shape our current life events into a story with ourselves firmly installed as the hero at the heart of it. Stories are the way of imposing structure and control, and tarot is a way of imposing structure and control on our own spiritual growth. Tarot is inherently self-centered, helping you understand what you can control in your current situation, even if you feel powerless. It is also inherently positive. Even the most negative cards in the deck are ultimately focused on emotional health and becoming a better version of yourself. It is also inherently intimate. The cards are not magic. The wisdom in them is really just the wisdom in you. So I thought that was fantastic. And I quite love that. She says further on, tarot is at its best when it becomes absolutely intuitive. Ultimately, you should glance at a spread and see a story about you, a wise mirror. So she does say that she will cover the basics that's needed, and the descriptions will provide keywords to help you remember, and a bit of a fuller description, but she really does intend for us to kind of use this intuitively. So, you know, I can't argue with that whatsoever. So anyways, I'm quite here's the back of this. The iridescent sheen of a raven's wing reveals a tantalizing glimpse of the future. A tattooed hand peels back the gossamer veil that separates this world from the next. Illuminating the prophecy, this is the book, shows you how to work with the cards, helping you harness the opposing forces of intuition and intellect as you create the story of your life. Yeah. That's why it was sold to me before I got it. And then somebody was so wonderfully sweet and obviously knew me enough to know that this was an excellent deck for me. Now, I am so sorry because I read you, did I read your poem? I read your poem for my last one, Shadowscapes. But how can we have this deck without, let me see if I can find an appropriate image here. Yes, it's the moon. So this is what's on the cover of the box. So this is the moon card. So we have kind of a raven eating the moon. So how can we do this without the Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, which is one of my favorite poems. I love this. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door, "only this and nothing more." And of course it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. And no, I will not read it, but we'll say, I will put a link to the poem so that you can go down and read it yourself. But the very last stanza is, "And the raven never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore." Anyways, we can't talk about the Raven's Prophecy Tarot without a little Edgar Allan Poe. Okay, I'm going to switch now and let's take a look at